Hi, today we're going to talk about wave scheduling in food manufacturing. The problem that we're dealing with here today is that we have these steps that are being taken. We have food that is being prepared in a prep kitchen. From there it's going into kettles where it's being made into soups or sauces. From the kettles they then go into fillers, and the fillers then go into chillers and ultimately down to a packing area. The big challenge when scheduling and sequencing these jobs in an environment like this is that there are numerous different products with different kinds of allergens, and they must be very carefully managed in order to avoid cross-contamination. So the problem that we're looking at today is highlighted by this one flow. We see that the prep kitchen can feed any of the kettles, but once a job is in a kettle and is being cooked, then from there it is limited to a specific filler that it can go into, a specific chiller that it can go into, and then any of the chillers in this case can deliver their products down to the packing area where everything is packed and made ready for shipment to the customer. So the way we schedule this, the steps that we take in order to do this successfully, looks something like this. So you see the steps that I just showed on the previous screen in a different way, and where we're going to start is we're going to schedule the fillers. So wave number one is going to be going through the filler area and making sure that everything is aligned there, minimizing setups, minimizing washdowns from one order to another, obviously in an effort to make it more efficient and reduce the possibility of allergen contamination. From there, a second wave of scheduling occurs where we schedule from the filler upstream backwards to the kettles and get the orders aligned there, and then downwards to the chillers and the packing area. We then do a third wave of scheduling, which is the prep kitchen. That we do scheduling backwards. We do a backwards style of scheduling there so that everything is ready just in time after it's been prepared to go into the kettles. So let's take a look at this and see what this looks like in our model today. All right, so I'm starting with a blank Gantt chart here. And the first thing I'm going to do is, you notice I have up here an icon that says Disable Secondary Constraints. That's a step I must do in order to use the scheduling rule that I'm going to be calling. So let's go ahead and tell the schedule. Now let's put everything that is, all these jobs down here that are unscheduled, we want to put them on here. And the first thing it's telling me to do is, the first step is we're going to load the filler operations. So it reminds me, did I remember to disable the secondary constraints? Yes, I did. So I'm going to let it go, and it's going to rip through and do the scheduling of just the filler lines at this moment. So we'll pause for a second and let that finish its work here. Okay, so now that this is done, we're given the message to move the filler operations into the desired sequence and then run our second APS rule for our second wave scheduling. So that's what we're doing at this point. So my next move now is to run the schedule. I'm going to disable my secondary constraints, or re-enable them rather. I'm going to go to my second step, which is to load the prep through filling, and we're going to let that go now. Yes, I have re-enabled my secondary constraints. Okay, now that the upstream and downstream operations have been scheduled, we're going to move on to our third wave. But before doing that, let's take a look at the results that we've gotten here, and just to take a moment and pay attention to what we're looking at. So essentially we see that the schedules, that the kettles have been scheduled. We see that the fillers and chillers have all been scheduled. And now what we're looking at is the third wave, which is our preparation area. So now, in order to do that, I'm going to change my scheduling method from a scheduling rule to scheduling backwards. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to schedule backwards, and it will schedule the prep kitchen. And now that that's been completed, we're able to look at this and see that the ingredient prep section is also done. And now, when I choose to highlight a job, if I highlight an entire order, we're able to see it starts in the ingredient prep area. You see it going up to into the kettle exactly when it's needed, into the filler, into the chillers, and then ultimately down to the packing area. And that's what it looks like when we're able to use wave scheduling in a food operation.